So we have this tweet from Roz Alerts. China military have begun drills surrounding the entirety of Taiwan, including the islands of Kinmen and Dongyin, state media says. I don't know what the update is on this. This was an hour ago that this story broke. A lot of people are saying, holy crap, things are starting to light up. But we do have this story as well. From SCNR, Russia launches tactical nuclear drills near Ukraine. Analysts say the exercises are meant to send a clear message to the West. So what's going on, Elad?
Before we get into that, Chase, Mr. Populist, I wanted to ask, what is the populist response to if China attacks Taiwan? How does America respond?
In my opinion,
the populist.
In my opinion, and I can't speak for all of populism or populists, but in my opinion, the populist response is we shouldn't give a fuck about any of these countries except our own country, and we should put America first. So all the money that we print in order to spend on defending Taiwan from threats like China only serves to weaken our working class and our people. It's not an America first policy, so it's not a populist policy.
I think in the surrounding seas around Taiwan, the South China Sea, around like 50% of world trade, world GDP trade goes through there. So
well,
there
it's
would
too
be...
bad that we allowed ourselves to be so dependent on Chinese manufacturing, so we got to the point where this was a problem for us. If we were actually populist, we wouldn't have fucked ourselves by outsourcing slavery to China, and we'd be manufacturing our own prescription drugs, our own products instead of importing them from China. So that's also the anti-populist problem.
Are we also populistly abandoning our allies in Japan and Korea? South Korea as well?
Fuck yeah. Fuck Ukraine. Fuck Israel. Fuck Russia.
Fuck Taiwan. I was talking about the ones in Pacific.
All of them.
I think you've sworn more than anyone's ever sworn on the show before.
I'm sorry. You want me to cut it out?
We usually don't swear. And
you didn't tell me that before the show. I would have watched it.
Well, we usually tell people, like, we try not to swear because people have kids watching, but I think you've said it like 70 times. So at this point, I'm just going to be like...
Oh, I'll genuinely apologize for that.
I'm not really mad or anything. I'm like...
I know. I don't think you're mad. I'm just genuinely apologizing to you. I didn't make you uncomfortable.
I understand you're passionate about the issues, too, because a lot of people think that, we shouldn't have any involvement. So I don't...
To hell with these... To hell with these people.
We just get emails from people because they'll play the show with their kids in the living room or in their car.
The thing with me is I'm on InfoWars and we're on radio, so you can't swear because it's against the law. And so whenever I come on podcasts, I'm like, finally I can say the F word.
So I strongly disagree.
Sometimes they overcompensate.
These countries. I love South Korea. I love Japan. I love Taiwan.
I love them too,
Israel,
but not as much as America. Like, I love women, but I only sleep with my wife.
Of course, but I think it's important.
I didn't use the F word.
That's right.
For our allies not to be overrun by communists in the case of China, in the Asian Pacific, or Islamists in the case of the Middle East.
I am sick and tired of all of this funding for all this war, and we're not giving enough funding to Korea.
South Korea?
Why are we giving money to Israel or Taiwan or Ukraine? We should be funding Korea.
We give troops to South Korea.
We should be giving.
Not enough, according to
I want $200 billion sent to South Korea. Because North Korea is a real threat to this country. They have they're working on nuclear weapons, and we got the real risk of war with North Korea. So we should just give everything to South Korea. I think we should only focus on
our allyship with England, not even Scotland and Wales, just England only.
We've had millions.
I personally, in Canada, another great country in my opinion. As soon as
why are we giving money to Israel or Ukraine or Taiwan? Or any other country for that matter, when South Korea is the real important country.
I think we've had millions of brave, heroic patriots fight against the communists in China in the Korean War, and I hope the conflict doesn't break out again.
A lot will not
I just want to let everybody know, I'm joking, by the way. I don't think we should be funding any of it or be involved in any capacity.
I don't think we should be involved at all. But again, because I have, genetic ties to two countries, I have a favoritism for them. I'm happy to admit it.
You favor your own genetics?
Yeah, I do.
Would you say they're superior?
Whoa.
Because I've seen all these people where it's like, you'll hear someone and they'll be like, we shouldn't be funding Ukraine. And you'll be like, what about Israel? And they'll go, well, hold on there. That's different. And so I was just like, before the show, I was like, maybe I should just have that, but for Korea. Like, all of a sudden, just for some reason, be a neocon when it comes to South Korea.
It's interesting because many of the people in Congress, the Republicans who are anti-Ukraine funding, are still very pro-Taiwan funding and are hawkishly anti-China, which I'm thankful for, but it's just hypocritical on that point.
Even Tulsi Gabbard, I think, too, right? Like, wasn't she critical of Ukraine but supportive of Israel funding?
It'd be cool if everyone took the same policy.
Yeah, but she was very quiet about Israel for like 6 months.
Tulsi said she wouldn't want America to defend China doesn't want America to defend Taiwan in the case of a Chinese attack, is what she said. But like they have people like J.D. Vance who are hawkishly anti-CCP, but not
I don't care about
Ukraine funding.
Apparently the superconductors are really important. It's like making somewhere else.
We build them
in
here.
America, perhaps.
Yeah,
a great
exactly.
idea. I agree with you. I think the priority should be our country first, and I can understand where we have geopolitical relationships. But to be fair, I think America makes kind of a mess of everything they do on the international stage, especially right
How
now.
much better off is Iraq and Afghanistan because we got involved in protecting their democracy?
If we allow our democratic allies in Taiwan to fall,
we have no democratic allies.
Japan and South Korea wouldn't have faith in us coming to defense, and then nuclear proliferation will be a huge issue. Nuclear proliferation is an issue, but not because our enemies are getting atomic weapons. It's because of our allies wanting atomic weapons when they feel threatened, and we don't want to come and assist them in their defense. So, if Taiwan falls, the first thing South Korea is going to want is a nuclear weapon. Same with Japan. The less we aid Ukraine, the more they will want a nuclear weapon in the future. One of the original reasons they disarmed their nuclear arsenal originally was because we would defend them in case of an attack.
Didn't Poland just offer to house our nuclear weapons if we wanted to put them there? I mean, I get what you're saying. On the other hand, I don't think it changes my position. I think ultimately we didn't do a good job of inserting ourselves into the world internationally. And in fact, we hurt the American economy by shipping manufacturing overseas, which we said was going to help local economies or do whatever else. This is not the way to help everybody by saying, well, everyone's going to be dependent on us all the time, especially when the people who are actually dependent on us, American citizens, feel as though we've left a gashing hole in the border, and also all of them are worried about how to pay for their bills at the end of the month. I mean, if we are in charge of one population, the American people, they should feel like they are doing really well before we start saying, okay, here's what we're going to promise the rest of the world. We can't even come through on promises that we have for our own voters. Why would we say, yes, you can depend on us for all these kinds of things? No worries.
I absolutely agree. And if we really think China's a threat and that we should stand up against the CCP if they attack Taiwan, then why is it that we're giving them so many millions and billions of dollars?
Do you not think China, the communist Chinese government, is a threat to American hegemony and American interests writ large?
That's a difficult question for me to answer, yes or no. I would say that China is a competitor, but not a threat. And I think anytime China has been or will be a threat will be because we've probably induced that threat. I have a problem with the CCP spying on us through TikTok less than I have a problem on our government extending FISA to spy on us. So it's going to try to ban TikTok because spying on the American people is something only our enemies do in the same 10 days that it passes legislation to spy on us. Like, our own government, the greatest threat to national security in America is the government of the United States.
But there's a material
it is the number one enemy of the American people.
There's a material difference between our government spying on us, which again I don't think is
what
great.
Material difference? Quantify it.
Versus the Chinese government.
Quantify it.
So we actually can monitor our government to a certain aspect.
No, we can't.
There's a Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah, Edward Snowden came out and said that the government was spying on us, and that's a violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. And the only person that got arrested for it or charged with any crimes for it was Edward Snowden.
So we still live in a democracy where we have
No, we don't. First of all, it never says democracy once in the Constitution. Second of all, even if it did, this isn't democratic.
We live in a representative democracy where your votes matter, and we elect officials, and that doesn't happen in China. So I think that's the material difference. Also, we're a country based on the Constitution and freedoms, and China is a country based on communism.
You think that the United States, as it is today, you think that the United States is based off of the Constitution as it is today?
I still think we have the First and Second Amendment, and I think that's something you don't have in communist China. And again, if you don't see the difference between those two,
how many states were you allowed to own a gun in 1980?
I don't know.
I think it was probably 2.
You were only allowed to own a gun in the United States.
Gun rights, the right to keep and bear arms outside of your home, really came into effect with DC versus Heller in 2008.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, George Carlin got arrested for swearing at a comedy club.
God, imagine what would have happened to me.
We had blasphemy laws a couple hundred years ago. You could get arrested.
Yeah. So do you think that the United States is a country based off of the Constitution?
I think we're a lot more free than any other country.
Frederick Douglass famously challenged the American people to live up to the document.
I think it's dangerous also to both sides our government with communist regimes like that. But
the United States, I believe, has a problem.
You're probably right about that too.
We have a problem with corruption in government. And it is not nearly as bad as most.
Right.
Like the CCP.
Like the White Pill by Michael Mouse. I mean, that was basically the whole point of that book.
Yeah, the CCP is infinitely worse than the establishment.
I agree.
The establishment.
But there's something particularly egregious about a government betraying its own people that is, it's just not the same when another government does it.
This is the issue, right? So we are what's referred to academically as a liberal democracy. It depends on the institutions you have within it if you want to get to the nitty gritty. So we're a constitutional republic with democratically elected representatives.
Yes.
Countries like this, because it largely does, at least in some degree, seek to have input from the people, are referred to as liberal democracies in that capacity.
Right.
We can FOIA request, as Elad mentioned. We can file lawsuits, and we win. The reason why I'm in favor of the TikTok divestment bill is because, for one, it's not really a ban.
Right.
TikTok could still operate. You can go to TikTok.us. It'll still exist. It just won't be on different servers outside the country. But it won't be on iPhones. It could be on Android. So
It's kind of a ban.
this is the challenge.
It's like saying that Alex Jones didn't get banned because he could still have his own servers. I mean, technically, he was legally allowed to operate, but the impact is so...
Alex Jones got banned from YouTube.
Yes.
The divestment bill
So
would
TikTok's
ban
going to get
TikTok.
banned from Apple?
It would be banned from U.S. servers.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.